Finally, the mermaid is being properly represented. And no, I'm not talking about Bermuda Triangle here, I'm talking about the Battle Siren, the little supporter that we have received many of them over the years that support the main bosses that are Aqua Force unit, which are usually Marine buff guy generals or dragons.
Sure. Bunghole, continue.
So it is really glad to see that they're finally giving chance to the Sirens. But how good is this brand new corp of mermaid, naming themselves interestingly as Argo Siren, the hero siren, since Argo is based on the word Argonaut. Well, that is exactly what I'm gonna be talking about today, and let's jump into it, starting off with the right line. Holy shit, that is been a while, isn't it, since I say this word.
Who cares?
And we have Argo Siren Roto list. I'm just bringing this card up first because this is a crucial piece of key to trigger the grade 1 skill, because similar to many of the other right line that has order focus around it, set order in particular, you require this particular grade 0 to trigger it. As we have Argo Siren Iremia. This unit has 2 skills where when this is placed on riding from Argo Siren Roto list, reveal a grade 3 card with Argo Siren in its name from the right deck, such that for up to 1 tiding card, review it and put it into your hand and shuffle the deck. Then auto in back row rearguard. Once per turn, when your unit in the same column as this unit stand by a card ability, if you have a Vanguard with Argo Siren in its card name, so blast 1 and stand this unit. The second skill is really good by the way, but so blast 1 is a little bit painful considering what the deck can do along the line. But the first skill is really nice because it just straight up search for the necessity piece of the deck, and that is a brand new type of set order tiding card. I'll come back to tiding later, as I feel it's more appropriate to talk about the whole right line first, as we have the next Argo Siren, Rep C. This unit more or less have the same first skill as Iremia, where when brought upon by Iremia, same condition, you also search for another title card, review it, put into your hand and shuffle the deck. This unit also get boost when your Vanguard has Argo Siren in its name as well. I do have to say Rep C is an alright card. I feel it is a nice card to run if you want to run a more Argo Siren focused version of a build, but overall I think you're gonna be just running one copy of this because it's just there to making sure that you have more tiding in your hand. And the tiding is very important for the deck, as you can see with the main boss unit of this deck, Argo Siren Calliope. This unit has 3 skills where constant during your turn, if your bind zone has 1 or more different tiding cards, this unit get additional 5k. If you have 2 or more different tiding cards in the bind zone, all of your front row unit gets 5k instead of just 5k to this unit. Very similar to Luquerinas, in case some of you guys are wondering. Then act once per turn, discard a card from hand, choose a tiding card from your drop and put it into order zone. And then Vanguard once per turn, when this is an attack of Vanguard, counter blast 1, choose a tiding from your order zone and bind it. And then if your opponent is grade 3 or greater, you can choose 2 tiding instead of 1 by paying Energy Blast 3.
Additionally,
so being a set order based deck makes me worry a little bit initially because of this little thing called Eva Syndrome. This card fixed the issue almost instantly with X skill,
which
guaranteed 2 tiding every turn, which is very crucial because you do want to have multiple tiding cards in your order zone thanks to her third skill, binding them. And these are not just binding for powers, these are binding for a greatness, because it's about time to talk about the tiding cards. As we start off with the grade 1 tiding cards, Kataros Ode. This card can be played normally by Soul Blast 1 if you have a Vanguard with Argo Siren in its name as well, but when this card is put into order zone, look at top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card among them and review it. Put that card into hand if it's a tiding card, call it to Recard Circle if it is an Argo Siren unit with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard, shuffle the deck. And then when this card is bound from the order of zone by ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Argo Siren in its card name, choose one of your Recard and stand it.
Hey, that's pretty good.
This is why Calliope bound
an order,
because this order has additional ability when bounded by ability of your grade 3 Argo Siren. And in general, this card is a great search card in general because of the fact that yes, top 7 is a little bit limited, but considering how often you're going to be playing it throughout the game, this is really nice. And this card being a grade 1 means that you can have a head start searching very early on, making the deck searching capability quite consistent. But this card is not the only one that contribute to that consistency. The other tiding card that was released in this booster also help in that regard with Kianos Orcos. This card has the same trigger condition as the Kyranos with a slightly different skill, where when this card is put into order zone, search your deck for up to one Tear Dragon and call it to rearguard circle and shuffle the deck. A little bit weird, I know, I'll come back to this later, as we have additional ability where when this card is bound from the order zone by ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Argo Siren is the card name. If your opponent Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, choose one of your Vanguard and it gets auto on Vanguard circle. At the end of the battle, this unit attack. If this unit did not stand by the ability this turn, stand this unit and increase or decrease this unit drive to 1 until end of turn. So with all this information, it should be clear already that the main focus of this deck is all about playing as many tiding as you can and dealing as many attack as possible, using Calliopeia skill to bind multiple tidings to restand multiple units, including the Vanguard itself. And in my honest opinion, this is easily one of the much better restand skill that I have seen around, because this literally costs nothing in exchange for being stuck too hard once per turn, like truly hard once per turn. So overall, I would say the baseline of the deck is really good, and having a relation to Tear Dragon is a little bit weird for some of you guys at a glance, but that also means that you have an access to inlet cost. On top of that, because of the fact that you can just search for any Tear Dragon, this allows you to run some of them in a smaller amount and only call it out when it needed to. A good example for this is Tightline Dragon, which actually is a fantastic card that synergizes really well with this deck. But are these the only support that Argo Siren gets? Well, of course not. We did get a few more, as we have two additional Argo Siren come together with the review, as we have Argo Siren Melzone. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted a Tear Dragon. Put this unit into soul, choose one of your unit, and that unit get 5k until end of turn.
That's it?
Nothing too crazy about the skill, but I bring this unit up because of the fact that it gives soul, which is a resource that the deck really needs a lot, considering you're gonna be soul blast at least once per turn with tidings. Next up, we have another searcher of the deck, and that is Argo Siren SINNED. This card has two abilities where when placed on rearguard circle, if you have an Argo Siren Vanguard, counter +1, search your deck or drop for up to one tiding card, reveal it and put it into your hand. If you search your deck by this ability, shuffle the deck. And then constant on rearguard, if your opponent Vanguard is grade 3 or greater and a tiding was put into your order zone this turn, this unit get 5k. A little bit weird on the power gaining condition because I feel it is unnecessary unless the next Argo Siren support is strong, but the fact that you can always ensure that you get additional copies of tiding in your hand all the time is really important, because this allows you to have more control with what you want to do first. You can, maybe you want to use the Calliopeia to just play the order first before you play it later using this card skill that you search to Kaitaros, or you can just call this card early to search your deck out early, compressing your deck early, making sure that you hit trigger more often afterward. Overall, great searcher, but there is one big flaw with this search, and I'll come back to this card when I'm talking about pros and cons of the card, as we do have to talk about two more cards in this deck, and those are not Argo Siren but Tear Dragons, as we have Ball Briny Dragon. This unit has two skills. While it's this card in your drop, when a tiding card is put into your order zone and you do not have a rearguard with the same name as this unit, counter +1 and call this card to rearguard circle. And then when this unit plays on rearguard circle, you may put tiding card from bind zone into your drop, and this unit get additional 10k until end of turn.
Yes, I like that.
Do you guys notice something? Not only this card look like a freaking Tear Dragon version of a blaster unit, this card is also literally a copy-paste version of Combined Rusher. Of course, Combined Rusher is better, but the point here is that this deck has its own Combined Rusher. How irritating is that? Though I have to say, based on my testing, you won't be using this card often, purely because of the fact that not only you have enough search ability to have a multiple unit on the field itself, but the fact that you are sending title card from bind to drop, meaning that this card only useful in the later part of the game where you have enough tiding card in your bind zone that you want it to be recycled back into your drop. So I'm not seeing you using this card often, but you do want to run a few copy of this card in your deck, and fortunately thanks to Kianos, you can run it at a much lower amount. And last but not least, we have one of the most unglam names I have ever seen for a Tear Dragon.
That escalated quickly.
Stunning Wave Dragon. Like, it sounds cool in Japanese, but it sounds so lame in English, sorry.
Why are you pouring me
damn right!
But regardless, this card has 2 skills, where when placed on red card circle from deck or hand, if you have a Argo Siren Vanguard, you can have this in a plus 5k and either counter blast 1 or so
エネルギーブラスト3
to draw a card. Then auto on red card circle, when this in attack, you may have this in a get 5k until end of that turn. If you do, at the end of that turn, retire this unit. The retire skill is a little bit weird, at least in my opinion, but the fact that you have a guaranteed 23k unit in your deck is really good, considering Kianos does search out for tier dragon, and the draw is pretty nice, especially if you complement it with Inlet Pulse draw. So what are the benefit and demerit of Argo Sirens? Well, in terms of searching capability, Argo Siren is easily one of the better archetype in the nation around in terms of searchability, because the deck just search very often, very consistently, and the search is so strong that are actually able to run 1 to 2 copy of certain card is actually a really a huge plus. And of course, synergy with Inlet Pulse Dragon is always a plus, but it does come at a very hefty cost, because a lot of cards that you guarantee to search either run at 1 or 2 copy, or they are set orders. So the hand that you have with Argo Siren tends to be fake, and not only that, the power number in Argo Siren is generally quite low because of the fact that you do have to bind your order first to actually get additional power, which lead to one biggest flaw that I found with this deck. Many cards in this deck require you to be fighting against your opponent at grade 3 or higher. This means that the best way to start this deck is going second. Making a rush deck going second, as we have seen before with one of the deck, I forget what it is. If I remember, I'll put the image there. It's a death sentence, and I feel this flaw in itself holded Argo Siren back quite a lot right now. But what do you guys think? Do leave down in the comments below on what you guys think about this archetype in general, and what are some other tech choice that you can do to combine for this deck. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Take care of yourself, don't forget to clap that sub and become a member for some cool perks. And this is Mac Mechanic signing out.
Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom.